Welcome to another study style session for the BJCP training program from the Brewers Anonymous Homebrew Club. We are now starting to look at these substyles for Category 2 International Lager, starting with 2A International Pale Lager. So let's start where we always do, and that's with the vital statistics. And for 2A International Pale Lager, the original gravity range is 1.042 to 1.050. Final gravity range is 1.008 to 1.012. IBU range is 18 to 25. SRM range is 2 to 6. And the ABV range for this beer is 4.5 to 6%. All right, so let's go back up to the top of this entry and take a look at the overall impression in the guidelines for 2A International Pale Lager. And it reads, a highly attenuated pale lager without strong flavors, typically well balanced and highly carbonated. Served cold, it's refreshing and thirst quenching. Okay, so now the things that we're most concerned about when it comes to evaluating this beer and our score sheets, starting with aroma. Aroma reads low to medium, low, grainy, malty, or slightly corny sweet malt aroma. Very low to medium, spicy, floral, or herbal hop aroma. Clean fermentation profile. Going on to appearance, it reads pale straw to gold color, white frothy head, may not be long lasting, and very clear. Flavor reads low to moderate levels of grainy malt flavor, medium, low to medium bitterness with a crisp, dry, well attenuated finish. The grain character can be somewhat neutral or show a light bready, crackery quality. Moderate, corny, or malty sweetness is optional. Medium floral, spicy, or herbal hop flavor optional. Balance may range from slightly malty to slightly bitter, but is usually relatively close to even. Neutral aftertaste with light malt and sometimes hop flavors. And finally, on mouthfeel, we have light to medium body, moderately high to highly carbonated, can have a slight carbonic bite on the tongue. And lastly, for our study session, as far as the guidelines go, we want to find the commercial examples. And we have Asahi Super Dry, Berea Moretti, Corona Extra, Devil's Backbone Gold Leaf Lager, Full Sail Session Premium Lager, Heineken, Red Stripe, and Singha. And I do have a commercial example. I'm going to set this down because we're done with the guidelines. There's more to it if you want to see it, but we don't care about it for our evaluation. And I do have a Red Stripe. And there it is. I think everyone knows what that looks like. And I have a I don't have a history. I have a one-time history with Red Stripe. There was a long story short. I was at a comic convention for the production company that is behind these videos and this training course you're watching. And me and my partner, we're beer fans, and the most exotic beer they had available at the convention was Red Stripe. And I'll just tell you, everything, other options just were not options. So we had plenty of Red Stripe. And oddly enough, I'm surprised. I was about to twist off the top. I remembered it being a twist off, but it's not. Luckily, I have a bottle opener here. I think every room in this house has a bottle opener. I just hit my mic. Hope that didn't make a lot of noise. So there we go. I'm sure you heard that hiss. And I'm going to try to line up for a better pour than I did last time. All right, we're in a good position. And I'm going to pour high to get some aggressiveness going there. Okay, I'm much happier with that than I was the last time I did. Okay, wow. Oh, I hope you're seeing that. Actually, I think you can. Again, the color is a little darker than it is in real life. But that head and the clarity, that's really what I was going on about. In fact, I didn't grab a paper towel again. I need to remember that in the future. But the clarity on this is fantastic. Head, nice and thick and frothy, and it's holding. Not much more I can say about the appearance, the aroma. Oh. Okay, this is interesting. This is the first time I'm going to be noting this. It's got that skunky light struck taste or aroma. We'll see about the taste. Wow. That is undeniable. I'm taking a second to reset my senses. A little bit of sweet malt. Maybe some floral hop, but oh man, that light struck character, which we haven't discussed off flavors yet, but I know light struck, and if you've ever had a skunked beer, you also know what light struck is now too. You know the right term for it. Ooh, yeah, it's actually waning a little bit now. I'm getting a little more a malt sweetness, a little bit of a floral, even herbal hop, almost earthy. All right, taste wise. Okay, tastes better than the aroma. I'm definitely getting some really nice sweet malts followed by this almost like saltless saltine cracker. Obviously, I think you would guess that. Like almost dry, but it's dry and sweet at the same time. Let me explain. I'm getting a little bit of, it's kind of a dry flavor in the finish, but then the aftertaste is sweet. It leans more towards sweet. Sweet malt, definitely. Actually, I think that floral and herbal hop aroma that I am getting through the light struck character follows through and is adding to the sweetness a little bit as well. Quite surprisingly clean with that really off aroma. No real strong lager-like character. I'm sorry, lager yeast character. I'm not really getting any sulfur. I'm getting a bit of a crispness. Even though it's ending sweet, there's still a bit of a crisp character to it. So I guess I'm getting that. Mouthfeel? It's on the lighter side, but it's not thin. Not at all, actually. In fact, there's a pleasant texture to it as well. I kind of like that. That's actually quite pleasant. Yeah, so let's see how close or far off the beer, or my evaluation more precisely, is. So aroma, low to medium low, grainy, or slightly sweet malt. I am getting some sweet malt. Very low to medium spicy, floral, or herbal hop. Okay, that's good. Clean fermentation. Wasn't really getting a fermentation character specifically, so I guess that's clean. It's really, that light struck character is really distracting. That's going to be interesting when I get to the evaluation on the score sheet, what I'm actually going to end up doing with that. Anyway, that's putting the cart before the horse. Appearance. Pale straw to gold. Yeah, it is. It's between the two. Again, it looks a little darker on camera than it is in real life. White, frothy head, may not last. It is lasting to an extent for a lager. That's lasting. The collar is lasting. Again, the camera just does not want to pick that up. The collar's lasting. There's a bit of a dusting on top. That's longer lasting than most lagers I'm used to, at least American lagers. Very clear. Absolutely. It is. It is one of the clearest beers I've done in a little while here. Flavor, low to medium grainy malt. I am getting a little bit of graininess. It's probably more sweet than grainy, but I'm getting that dry cracker taste, which is, I guess that's probably in the grainy range. Medium low to medium bitterness. No, I'm going to flat out say I'm not getting it medium low. I'm getting it low at best. Crispy, dry finish. Again, in the crispness, it is a little more sweet than dry, but there's a definite crisp character. Medium floral, spicy, herbal, hop optional. I did get a little bit of that. Balance is slightly malty, so slightly bitter, but usually close to even. That's interesting, considering it said it's be crisp and dry finish. But the balance is, I would say it's a little, it leans more towards malty, which is okay, apparently. It's not as close to even, but still, it's within range of what this is saying. Mouthfeel, light to medium body, absolutely. Moderate, high to highly carbonated. I did not mention carbonation, and it is highly carbonated. I'm getting mad at myself. I should know better. I'm the one that's trying to give the best example of evaluations, and I'm failing. But anyway, I have got a score sheet ready. It's blank. You're going to see it. Look at it. You're going to see it. Like I said, I'm not even going to repeat the same jokes over and over if they're even jokes, but I am going to go fill this out. So I'm going to pause this. Please do the same. If you don't have a commercial example or don't have anything that's listed as a pale international lager, get a American lager. Get something that's out of style. Write those score sheets. The most important thing to do in these sessions is write score sheets. It's better if you can do an example of the beer we're talking about, but the most important thing, hands down, without a doubt, 100%, is filling out these score sheets. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to pause the video and be back, and we're going to talk about how I evaluated this beer. And that word aroma seems like it's 10 times bigger than it normally is on the score sheet right now, and I think you know why. All right, I am back, and I do have my score sheet. I hope you do too, and I hope you also use the flavor wheel. I actually ended up using it twice. In fact, I circled them where I used it so I know where to talk about it. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know what's going to get cropped out in the video, so I'll just mention it when I get to it. So, okay, we knew going into this is problematic. In fact, let me show you this right off the bat. I did mark it as light struck, and I wrote that it was very strong. That's not necessarily something I need to do, but in terms of your judging exam score sheets, more is always better. So I put that on there to give more information and fill in more space on the score sheet. And it was very strong. All right. In fact, speaking of that, let's get to aroma. I said an overwhelming amount of light struck skunk-like aroma dominates this beer. A faint sweet malt note comes through as the light struck note wanes. Extremely faint floral, herbal, flower-like, and catty character. And that was the word I used from the beer flavor wheel. I was trying to find that thing beyond skunk that everything together was combining, and it was kind of catty. And if you don't know what catty means in terms of beer, not to be disgusting, but you need to learn it. We're talking cat urine, which is very distinct. And once that light struck skunk aroma started to wane and the hops started to actually present themselves, it was more like that, unfortunately. And I gave it I think all my scores are very generous on this, a generous 6 out of 12. Appearance. Now, the appearance was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. There were some good things about this beer. Appearance, I said, brilliantly clear, pale golden color, medium to large head on pour that lingered with a thick collar and a covering of fine bubbles. And that's a 3 out of 3, which is unfortunate. That's only 3 points, because to be that clear and get the head dead on like that feels like it should be worth more points. Flavor. The light struck flavor is noticeable. It unfortunately was, as the tasting went on. In fact, I noted more prominent as the sample warms up. The more it warmed up, the more that flavor came out, unfortunately. Moderate sweet malt across the tongue and palate that leads to a moderately light, dry character. Light floral wildflower hop with a faint woody note in the finish. A very light, smooth, bitter note on the finish that is fleeting. And flavors 15 out of 20, which is probably the most generous score on here. Mouthfeel. I wrote light-bodied, high carbonation level, a touch of alcohol, warmth noticeable, an extremely delicate cream-like texture. The light-struck character lends to a drying note that mimics an astringent character. And I picked out drying out of the mouthfeel portion of the beer flavor wheel, because there was something about the mouthfeel that was off but wasn't the main descriptor, and I found it using I found the exact word I was looking for in that flavor wheel, and I gave that a 4 out of 5. So down to overall impression, most of the style character that's expected from this style is present. There is a strong, overwhelming, light-struck skunk-like character in the aroma and flavor that dominates this beer. Be sure to limit the beer's exposure to UV light at every stage to avoid this unpleasant characteristic. And I gave that a 5 out of 10, which leads us to a 33 out of 50. And this is one of those things where when it's only one judge, this particular sample, if it were a competition, would be much better to have obviously a second. You're going to have a second judge. This is where it benefits having multiple judges, because I think I would have been talked down from that. However, for a commercial example, 33 is a pretty poor score, and I think that's fair considering how off and how strong, I should say, that off aroma and off flavor was in this. I don't remember having this problem with Red Stripe before, but granted, it's been a while. It has been since my judging exam since I've had a Red Stripe. But wow, was that strong? And it's probably just because it was unfortunately handled by the place that I bought it from, or somewhere in between where it was distributed. I don't want to blame one single place, but somewhere along that line, something happened. I don't think it was packaged like this. But I'm done defending this. That's it on this one. Hopefully your sample was a little better. And on that note, we're going to go on to 2B, which is International Amber Lager, and hopefully have a little bit more success on that. But it was a learning process. Every beer you judge is not going to be perfect. In fact, at least I'd say half the beers that you're going to judge in your judging exam are not going to be perfect. You're going to have to judge poor examples. And this was unexpected, but it was a good example of having to do that process. So that's it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in that next session.